All right, everybody, welcome back to the Nutrition Coaching Secrets podcast, episode number 3. Man, I have what I believe is a hidden gem in this industry, and that is I have my man Zach Kroeger with us today. Dude, what's going on, brother?
How's it going, sir? Having a good day so far.
Good, man. What time did your day start today?
4 a.m.
I feel like that's late for you some days.
Sometimes, yeah, depending on how early I got to get up, but yeah.
Oh, man. Well, before we even jump all the way in, it's pretty traditional in the podcast world for a guest to give something away, a book or something like that. Dude, you went above and beyond on this. Do you want to share what it is that you're doing for our listeners?
Yes, I'm doing a 4 weeks men's health and hormone class. I really wanted to pivot towards men. They generally don't take care of themselves. They don't go to the doctors regularly. I've had a lot of male clients over the years, and it's always the same stuff. They're just not taking care of themselves. They'll take care of other people. They'll take care of their family and whatnot, but they just don't take care of themselves, and it causes a lot of issues. So I'd want to outreach to them and give them a 4 week class.
So it's funny, man. We were going back and forth yesterday, and you told me about this, and I was like, okay, like $100, $200, $500, and you're like, no, dude, like free. And I was blown away. So guys, if you're watching us live on Facebook right now, Tommy's going to insert that link where you can get this course. You're coaching them through this, correct?
Correct.
Right. So you can get this course and coaching for 4 weeks completely for free. This is not a bait and switch. There's nothing to do that. Guys, it is in the chat right now. Tommy has posted it up. And if you're not watching us in the secrets group, go ahead and join Nutrition Coaching Secrets on Facebook. Step in, and you guys are going to get access to really an amazing 4 week course. So, dude, let's jump in. Obviously, male hormones, big things. You've got a much bigger history in the health and fitness world, and even pre-health and fitness. How did all of this come to be for you, brother?
When I was 18, I was doing 6 years in prison from 18 to 24, and I got involved in boxing, weightlifting and boxing. I was very fortunate. I met a lot of good people in there. They pointed me in the right directions. When I got out, I was an amateur boxer. I was getting paid under the table, really wasn't cutting the bills, and I found a job at a boot camp. And I was like, they like, you like to run and be outside and do push-ups. I'm like, yeah, I've done that for the last 6 years. I do that every day for my training. I was just reading anatomy and physiology books while I was in there just to learn more about the body to help myself in my training. And I was very fortunate, very blessed to just walk into an industry where I could give back and help people. And it's been that way this entire time. And it's come back to me. I've been very fortunate. I had a great boxing coach in prison, Robert Hubson. He was a ex-boxer himself. Met a lot of good people in prison. Learned a lot about powerlifting, Olympic lifting, fighting, mixed martial arts. I was trained by Rich Seldell for a while. He was a ex-bodybuilder, powerlifter who trained under Ed Cohn. And then he got into the MMA scene himself. And he actually owns a small piece out in the Chicagoland area now.
Dude, that's badass, man. Like, very few people are going to say my career began because of the great people I met in prison. Not a statement you hear a lot.
There was a lot of good people in there that people have made mistakes in life, and they just need an opportunity to turn around. And I was very fortunate. I had a lot of people point me in the right direction in prison. And since I've gotten out of prison, I've run into great coaches. I trained under Ed Cohn for 10 years. Awesome. I've met a lot of really good people in this industry. And there's just a lot of people that they're just trying to help people, and that's the thing. You have to make money. We've got to provide for our families and everything. But the ability to give back and just help other people out, it's definitely worth it. And it's rewarding. That's why, I said with this class, just do it for free. This year has been a shit show for everyone. The pandemic and the shutdowns and stuff like that. I've been very fortunate. I've kept my business. My business has actually grown during this time. I've been able to invest a lot of money in my education and into my facility. So I just want to be able to give back to other guys out there that I know having issues, and just help somebody out.
Dude, it's amazing. I mean, that turnaround is fucking dope. On that note, it's been a rough year for the world. I mean, shit, we wake up this morning and the president's got fucking corona. You know, I think a lot of people are suffering in silence. And you mentioned it earlier, men in particular are suffering in silence. Talk to me about that. Why is it so hard? Why is there so much stigma around this?
Got to be a manly man and just bite down and work through it and all that shit. And it's just like, there's a lot of guys that deal with depression. I know you've mentioned that last week. They don't seek help, and they might self-medicate with alcohol and drugs. And they're just going to tear their bodies down. They don't get their prostates checked. They don't get, high body fat, insulin issues, diabetes, low testosterone. I've had a lot of guys that I've met throughout the years. Low testosterone, had no clue. I had a guy, his wife thought he didn't love him because he wasn't like as sexually aggressive or active with her that he had been at one point. And that was simply because his testosterone was low. He just didn't have it in him. Mm-hmm. Like literally, he told me I saved his marriage by sending him to a doctor, getting his blood work done, finding out he had low testosterone, and getting on TRT therapy. I mean, it completely changed his life. And it's just one of those things where guys just won't reach out. We're just too stubborn or stupid or whatever to ask for help when there's so many people that'll help you. And if seeing that over and over again, that vicious cycle, it just tears people down. Guys are more likely to have heart attacks because we don't take care of our stress well. We just let that shit build up inside of us until something blows. And it's not good. It's not how it should be. You got people that are, losing their family, they're losing the father in their family, and it's just not okay that it's something that could have been preventable or treatable.
Dude, I couldn't agree more. Having started with low testosterone and not knowing it, I know what that's like. I've been on hormone replacement since I was just shy of 19, and that was a result of an eating disorder. My hormones never fully developed because of that. You're still you're very developing at 18. And I was trying to live on 800 calories and do all sorts of fucking cardio to try to get ripped. To be an advertising model. That was what they said. It was bad information. And so I think that you're right. Men want to be the manly man, and they don't want to put themselves out there. But I also think there's some pretty shitty information, and I think there's a lot of stigma around the treatment of low T. First and foremost, man, let's start with, how can a guy even know if maybe he's struggling with hormonal issues? Like, how is that going to show up in his life?
It can come about a lot of ways. I wouldn't even look for symptoms. I recommend that guys get their blood work done every 6 months at least, because I've told guys, okay, you might have low T, and their first response is, oh, my dick works just fine. Okay, it's not always an ED issue. It could be depression. It could be excessive body fat. It could be moodiness. You're tired all the time. There's a lot of symptoms. The thing is, you want that blood work, and you can see those numbers. Don't go to a doctor and let them tell you you're okay. You want to see the numbers. I've had doctors tell clients that are in their 30s, you're okay. Their fucking testosterone levels at 300. Technically, 250 and below is low. You're a 30-year-old male and your shit is at the 300s, there's a problem. That doctor doesn't know how to deal with it. I've had shitty experiences with doctors. One point in my TRT treatment, I changed doctors and changed insurance and changed doctors. And I went in for blood work, and he told me that I'm just trying to get steroids, and he doesn't believe in TRT and all this shit. Yeah, blood work came back because I had come off the TRT, came in at 105.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I came in for my results, he's like, yeah, I'm sending you over endocrinology. I was like, oh, okay. But I thought this wasn't real. I thought I was just trying to get steroids from you. Shitty doctors. Just like every profession, there's always a shitty person out there. That's why you really have to search for a really good doctor that specializes in this and not just your general practitioner.
Well, dude, I'll throw one at you. I have a WWE pro wrestler client.
Okay.
And he did lab work. And here's two numbers that came back in the lab work. And maybe you can help people understand what this means. His sex hormone binding globulin, his SHBG, was 42. And his free test was 30. His total test was 194. And this is what the doctor said. I'm reading verbatim off of the doctor. Results are in. Testosterone is good. Granted, the number is technically lower, but still in the acceptable range. Let me know if you have questions. Now, 194 is low. It's what we would call subclinical.
Yeah.
Right? It's in the reference range.
Yes.
A free test of 30, that's not subclinical. That's clinically deficient. A reference range for free test on this test was 47 to 244. So he's 17 points below. And that's good according to the doctor. Mind you, this client had symptoms of crashing, like had horrible insulin sensitivity. And this is a lean dude, always stays relatively lean. I mean, I used to be able to feed him 400 or 500 grams of carbs. And out of nowhere, this happened. He's having more fatigue. Let's be honest, the life of a pro wrestler, traveling all the time, not seeing your family, getting the shit kicked out of you every day. Dude, enlighten us. What does this show us? What do those numbers mean? What's going on?
I would panic if I saw those numbers, especially 195. I'd be like, you need to go to a different doctor right now. That's the problem. And that's what I stress when you go get your blood work done. Don't listen to what the doctor just tells you you're good or not. Look at the numbers, because on all the blood work, it'll show you what the range is. And it's not that you don't need to be a fucking doctor to figure out 195 is low, because generally it's going to be like 250 to 800, 900, or 1,000, depending on which lab is doing the test. But it'll give you a range.
Yep.
If you're on the low end of the range, I'd be very concerned, unless if you're like an 80-year-old fucking man. If you're not an 80-year-old man and you're in the 400s, 300s, you need to go see a specialist. You might not be clinically low, but there's something going on. Might be something you could take naturally, might be just some lifestyle changes you can do, but you need to go to see someone, because all that shit is just straight warning signs, red flags that you have a problem. And for his doctor to say that he's okay, yeah, I'd try to go after his medical license. Like, shit, this guy's who knows how many other fucking people, and he's fucking them over, like left and right. And see, like that, if he would have just taken the doctor said I'm okay, he's going to go around feeling like shit until someone else gets a hold of him.
And that's one client out of how many?
Yeah.
How many people is that doctor seeing?
Let's say he's got 500 on his roster.
It's 500 men not getting the help that they need.
Yeah.
So as a man, let's say we self-identify with some of the symptoms that you brought up earlier. What's the first step? Go get blood work. Obviously, look at the numbers yourself. But I'm going to openly say I don't have a lot of faith in the medical community. Dude, I've been in the game 18 years. There's resources. Let's say I come to your doorstep with my lab work. What are we going to do at that point?
We're going to look over your lab work. If you're clinically low or you look like you're close to being low, I have doctors that I work with that are specialists with TRT and HRT. They deal with males and females just alike. And I'm going to send you to one of those. I'm going to make sure if you're in another state, I'm going to find someone in your state that is trustworthy, that is responsible, and that is their profession. I'm assuming his doctor was a general practitioner and not a TRT doctor. I'd hope he's not a TRT doctor.
I don't think it was an endo. I think it was, honestly, I think it was a telehealth thing that he did. So I'm just a GP.
Okay. So yeah, if it was a GP, I don't put a lot of trust in them.
Neither do I.
In that field. There's some good ones. I don't want to blackball all of them. There's always some good ones, but there's some bad ones. And it's just, it has to be a specialty, you know? I had a kid, he was 26 and he showed up at 3:30. One doctor said he's fine. He just needs to spend more time with his wife. Another doctor said, no, you need to be on TRT. I picked it up that he had low T because he was relatively skinny. He had budding nipples. So he had gynecomastia going on. His estrogen levels were really high. His testosterone was low. 26-year-old, you're in the 300s. You're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. Go spend more time with your wife. It's not going to fix it.
It's actually going to hurt it. In my opinion, because the more time you try to get intimate and you lose that desire, it's just literally making what's already a problem amplified.
Yes.
It's just a horrible advice. And then, men were losing this. I don't want to get in this whole like fucking, I don't know, what are they calling it? Toxic masculinity. Like, I don't want to get into that discussion, but we're losing that alpha edge at times because of this. Like, I don't know if you personally experienced it. Obviously, you said your numbers were low before, but I experienced it for a prolonged period of time. You don't feel like a man. Like, you don't have the energy, the vitality, the sex drive. You don't want to train. Why are we seeing so much of this today when I feel like 15, 20 years ago, it wasn't as big?
Stress has increased. We don't deal with our stress as well. The fight or flight response, cortisol levels. A lot of it, I would definitely point towards nutrition. Packaging, a lot of things are packaged in plastic now. You're getting estrogen pulled out of that. A lot of it, though, I'd just go to the food. They're putting a lot of hormones and shit, and it's fucking people up. You're seeing little girls, 8 years old, full period, and starting to hit puberty already, and boys can have the opposite effect.
Yep.
They push a lot of soy and vegetarian shit.
Yep.
And if you're feeding that while he's developing and he's getting high loads of soy, which is going to convert to estrogen, that's going to have impact on his development too. I experienced that when I had to, like I said, when I had to go from one doctor and I had to come off, let my system come down, and then start with a new doctor. I mean, I felt that. I wasn't as sexually aroused as I used to be, and it's just not a good feeling.
No.
Once you've experienced one side of the spectrum and then you experience the other side of the spectrum, you don't want to go back to that bad side.
No.
You don't want to feel tired for no fucking reason. It's one thing if you're grinding, you're working, that's fine, you're tired. But you're just tired for no reason. You got a beautiful wife, girlfriend, partner, whatever the fuck you got, you want to come home to, and you don't want to have sex with them, that's a problem. Because, I mean, most guys, your girlfriend, your wife is not going to understand, oh, it's a hormone issue. That's not going to first thing to pop into her head. Hey, honey, maybe you have low T. She's going to think you're cheating on her or you don't want to be with her.
Yep.
Those are the first things that are going to come into her head, which is understandable because, I mean, why would you think that it's a fucking hormone issue? Some guys in his 20s, his 30s, his 40s, but it's just more prevalent nowadays.
We think of it as older men. And I think a lot of young men don't want to accept that they may have hormone issues. Mm-hmm. And I also think there's a stigma around treatment. Walk me through, like, when somebody comes to see you get the blood work. If they're clinically deficient, they go the TRT route. What if they're subclinical? Are there behavioral, lifestyle, nutrition modifications we can make to be improving the testosterone?
Yeah, you definitely should be changing your nutrition and your lifestyle, sleep. If you're running on little to no sleep all the time, that can just bring your levels down.
Yep.
If you're not eating correctly, that's definitely going to bring your levels down. You're not managing your stress. Medications. They put a lot of guys that they put on antidepressant medications. A lot of times they have low testosterone. And you're putting them on an antidepressant medication, which is most likely going to lower their testosterone even more. It's going to cause some ED issues. And if I feel good because I'm taking some drugs, but my dick doesn't work, I'm not going to feel that good.
I don't think any man in the world will claim that they feel their best if their dick isn't working.
I'd rather be a little tired and depressed and be sexually active.
I think many men would.
Yeah. Let me give my younger brother right below me. He's had 2 brain tumors. The first one wasn't cancerous. The second one was. They've both been removed. He's good. But after the first one, they put him on an anti-seizure medication. And he's going to be on that for the rest of his life. And probably about 2 or 3 years in, he, brought it to my attention, like shit just wasn't working right. And I was like, well, check your medication. And sure enough, it says right on there, can lower testosterone. I sent him to my doctor. She did the blood work. He was coming in at about 205.
Wow.
Put him on TRT. been great since. He had the second brain tumor. He's in the hospital. They operate on him because that's in his medical history. They're giving him his TRT shots while he's in the hospital still, because it's that important to keep his testosterone levels balanced.
Wow.
That's another thing too with the doctors you have to watch out for. You need to find a doctor that knows what they're doing, because I'd go into a doctor and they wanted to play with my dosage and my timing. And the best timing for me is 200 milligrams twice a week. And I come in around 600 to 700.
Jesus, that's a big dose for that number.
I have a client who had a real bad spinal injury in their 20s. They've been on a shitload of pain medicine for probably 15 years. They're getting 3.25 cc's at 200 milligrams of cc once a week. They're coming in at 500.
Holy hell.
It's not one of those just, oh, this is exactly what you need.
Not 200 a week.
Yeah, not 200 a week. He's getting 3.25 a week. So he's getting what? 6 and some change, 600 milligrams a week. And he's only coming in at 500.
Wow.
Somebody, a regular person would be much higher.
Regular person, that's a steroid dose.
Basically. Yeah, basically that guy's going on a light cycle. Yeah. This guy here, he's coming in. The doctor he goes to, so they know he's not fucking around. He goes in every week and they give him his shot.
Wow. So
it's not like he's cutting the dosage low or anything like that. They give him his shot. They test his blood every week. Yeah, he's running in the 500s. I had a doctor fuck with my timing, and they wanted to push me to every 10 days. So they did
the exact same thing.
They did my blood work. They gave me my dosage. I came in on the 11th day. They ran my blood work again. I was down to 105.
Yeah.
And I told them, this isn't going to work. Once you're on it for a while and you know your body, you know how you feel. Yep. You don't want your testosterone levels dipping and spiking. You want it nice, level, and steady. And then that kind of goes back with that depression thing. A lot of times with the people that are depressed, their shit's going up and down, up and down. You want it steady. Just like your blood sugar. You want that shit steady. You don't want to fuck around. You don't want spikes and dips. You have to keep it consistent. You don't want to miss your shots.
I had that same thing where a doctor, he said, I'm on 200 a week and that's what I've always been on. And that keeps me between 900 and 1,000, which is a little super physiological, but I believe to be optimist. I think that's actually optimal. And so I went to a doctor. I had just moved and he didn't know me. And he's like, oh yeah, you're a little high. We need to back off your dose. And he said, how about instead of every week, you go every 10 days? And I said, you clearly don't understand half-life because you're sending me on a fucking emotion. I said, so if that's really how you want me to do it, I'm willing to go 100 milligrams every 5 days, but I'm not willing to go 10 days between shots. And he honestly didn't get it, but he let me do it. And it's mind-blowing to me that the medical community, they don't understand this as much. And I believe this to be one of the biggest problems in existence in humanity. So let's talk with TRT real quick though. And let's talk with just hormonal improvements in general. We talk testosterone for men, right? Obviously there's things with women. I think one thing a lot of people create stigma for or around is side effects, right? Oh, I'm taking tests. Like my balls are going to shrink. I'm going to get acne. I'm going to lose my hair. All these things. What are the likely side effects? Like, am I going to become infertile? Like, what are the side effects? Are there ways to mitigate side effects, risks? Talk to us about that.
As far as I know, if you're predisposed to go bald, it can expedite that process. I'm 44.
I got it going too, brother. It's all good.
I shaved my head. I just shaved mine. I got a full head of hair. I just shaved my head. I don't like having hair. Acne, if you're predisposed to it, it can happen. I'm on TRT, been on it for years. No acne issues whatsoever. I would look more so if your eating habits and nutrition. But again, if you're predisposed to something, it can exacerbate it. As far as roid rage, no, that's bullshit. If you're a dickhead, you're just a dickhead. Is not. I read a study a few years ago. They did. There was a group that was on testosterone TRT, and there was a group that wasn't. The group that was on testosterone was more empathetic to people and their issues than the group that was not on testosterone.
Wow.
And I totally agree with that because, I mean, there are certain things that will definitely touch me a little differently emotionally than they used to, because you just can feel someone else suffering. You're in a better place, so you're more in touch with your feelings. As far as infertility, tell that to my 2 daughters.
I was gonna say I got a 3-year-old in the next room, bro. Like it hasn't hurt me.
Yeah. I've heard where some guys have come off and they had to go through a bunch of treatments to get pregnant. I know a bunch of people that are either on TRT or they were on straight cycles and they have children. Yeah. So I'm not sold on that. I think the problem is
those guys are better with the ancillaries, the things like the anastrozole, the HCGs, the HMGs, or
no. I just think that because it's an illegal product here, they don't put any money into research. Agreed. And there's nothing brand new in the steroid field where someone's going to be able to market it and make a shit ton of money. Everything that's out there is out there already. So you can't just all of a sudden come out with a brand new testosterone. There's no big money into it. Mm-hmm. So Big Pharma's not going to spend money on it and look into it. And it's really sad because it's one of those things that could help a lot of guys out. Females too, that, females have their low testosterone issues too. Granted, their numbers are a lot lower than ours, but they have a lot of issues with it as well. But dealing with guys, it would help a lot of guys out. The stigma too, like if you look in Mexico, a lot of guys go down there to get their steroids because it's legal. Yep. They don't have a rampant outbreak of roid rage guys freaking out in Mexico. It's just one of those things where other countries where it's legal and they don't have any of the issues that we have here.
They don't have a lack of population issue either.
No, they don't.
I mean, not at all. So clearly, like, if it's legal down there, there's no issues with overgrown meatheads raging, and there's no issue with population being limited. I think a lot of this is overblown. You bring up a really good point, though, and I've always wondered this myself. I'm we don't know, but I'm curious your take. What's it going to take to get more human trials? Because we don't have very many human trials. There's animal trials, but why are we so against trying medicine that can have such profound effects? Why are we so against trying it on humans?
Because someone went in front of the Senate or Congress and told them some bullshit, and they took that story and ran with it. It's just like marijuana in this country. You ever see Reefer Madness?
I haven't.
You got to watch that. It was a big propaganda bullshit, I think in like the 30s, about marijuana, and if you smoke it, you're going to get all crazy and kill people and all this shit. And it's like, once people like smoke marijuana and it was completely opposite, they just wanted to chill out, eat, and go to sleep. Yeah. It's one of those things. You give out all this propaganda, and as soon as someone sees that that is not true, they have no faith in anything else you're going to tell them. They were bigger, faster, stronger. There was a kid in Plano, Texas, who was on antidepressants and supposedly he was taking steroids. He came off his antidepressants without his doctor's permission and just cold turkey that shit and killed himself. It's very unfortunate. The parents blamed steroids entirely, did not even want to look at the antidepressants, even though it's clearly marked on the antidepressants that it can cause suicidal tendencies.
Yeah, especially fluctuations.
Yeah. So if this kid has some real issues that needed to be dealt with by a doctor and he cut his medicine. I mean, I've seen it before with people that are bipolar and things like that. They've taken their medicine, they feel great, and they get in their head, I feel good, I don't need to take my medicine. They come off their medicine, they go batshit crazy. Yeah. We don't have enough research, and they're not willing to do the research because it's a taboo topic. Hopefully things are getting more progressive in this country, seeing that more states are legalizing marijuana. Hopefully the federal government will catch up to it and be like, oh, look, there's some shit we can actually do medically that's a lot less harmful to people than what Big Pharma is pushing. back in Chicago, went to a church there, and there was a nice couple. They had a daughter. She had Down syndrome and autism. She was on like 16 different medications. She was a teenager. She was just like, it was just awful to see. She just was like this little girl that just kind of sit there, like this zoned out face, not, just not, she wasn't a child. They were trying everything. They finally went to Colorado. They got her some THC gummies. Within a month, they had her off of 6 medications already.
Holy shit.
She looked like a kid. Granted, she still had Down syndrome and the autism, but she still started to look like a kid, like talking and smiling and laughing. And it was just a huge, like, they were one of those couple that was completely against marijuana until they saw how it helped their child. And it completely flipped them. And it's unfortunate in this country where people can't be empathetic enough to, I might not have this problem, but someone else does. And there's something out there that might help them. The depression thing. There's a lot of guys that are depressed. Yeah. And it leads to suicide.
Dude, I couldn't begin to imagine what my life would be like without available TRT.
Probably pretty shitty.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot endogenously produce enough tests. Yeah. I mean, that got cut off because of my eating disorder.
Yeah.
I like, full transparency, man, I don't know if I would be living.
Good possibility you wouldn't be. I mean, depression could get to you. I would see depression really kick you.
That would be the thing. I think that I'm not sure I could cope with it. I mean, I'm 18 years removed from that, but it's very difficult. And, and I mean, obviously the stress and the pressure of society as a male to perform and provide, it's difficult, man. And I'm super thankful for intelligent people. Now, my GP when I was 18 was actually the one that found it. I was actually, dude, my first lab tests were for mono because all I was experiencing was fatigue. And like, I'm not talking fatigue, bro. I'm talking 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If there wasn't a chair near me, I was just going to sleep on the floor. It didn't happen. I was so fucking tired. I couldn't get a job. If the job hours were beyond 2 p.m., I was lost.
What? You couldn't push yourself like you are right now.
Fuck no, dude. I don't even sleep. I don't even sleep like 4 hours now. But dude, I had I had a doctor that was like, let me check one more thing. We ran the 3rd round of labs and the test came back. I mean, dude, I think my total test was like a 90. It was so bad.
At 18?
At 18.
Holy shit.
Dude, I was doing 2 hours of cardio daily and eating probably 800 calories and stressed out of my mind because I would drive around or walk around or like anything that I even consumed food-wise, I would immediately beat myself up for being weak. And why would you eat that? Now you're fatter on your abs. I would feel my skin, not my fat, my skin, and be like, you're such a fat piece of shit. And I mean, this is what was going through my head. And I'll never forget the first TRT I got on was the cream. And I'll never forget just actually having fun one day. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I literally felt like a different human being. And I was like, wow, this is what people do in life. And they say you don't know how bad you feel until you feel good. I think so many people listening to this or watching this right now, they literally are just made peace with living like shit and feeling like shit. And I'm not okay with that. And I know you're not okay with that.
Not at all. No, I agree. I've had a lot of guys that they felt like that for so long, they didn't know how else to feel. They're used to just always being lethargic and not sexually aroused and tired and moody. And, they're like, oh, well, I work so much or I do this and I do that. They have an excuse for it. They're trying to cover up why. And it's just like, no, you're not looking for the reason. Like, you really are not looking for the reason. I talk with a lot of people about blood work, and it's just like some of them don't even get done once a year. Like, your insurance generally will cover at least once a year.
Yeah.
Get it done. And make sure that you ask your doctor to check your hormone levels. There are places like Life Extension that I use. I send clients to. I use it myself. You can get a very thorough panel, and it's going to cover a whole lot more. It's going to be a lot more in depth, and you get a better view of things. But basic testosterone test at a regular doctor is not a problem, even once a year. I recommend that. I think that medically at 18 and 21, all guys should get those levels tested because it'd give you a better baseline of seeing where you're at. If you were that low at 18, I mean, shit, that's their top of your puberty. You should have been fucking 900 to 1,000 easily, if not even higher than that. You know?
It's just crazy to me, man. It's a stigma, I think, that has to be overwhelmed, man. I'm fortunate that I'm excited, man, because obviously I feel like I had my impact directly in the world. Now I'm at a position where I'm bringing coaches to where I think they need to be, and it's exciting for me to watch people like you go change the world. With that in mind, and obviously I'm gonna redirect people to that link again that we've posted. I know Tommy has posted in the chat. Guys, if you're at all interested in understanding your own hormonal profile, how you can improve it, how you can maximize it, Zach's doing. Most guys would charge $100, $200, $500 for this. He's doing it for free. So click that link, guys, down in the chat. Dude, what can people expect in this 4-week experience with you? What is it that you're taking them through? How does it work?
Basically, we're just trying to educate them on everything that they need to look for. And I'm trying to deal with major men's health issues, low testosterone, prostate issues, high blood pressure, cholesterol, things that affect guys across the board, and we just don't deal with. We're not getting the right information. And then there is information out there, but we're not going to seek it. We're not going to go reach out to the doctors because, I mean, your situation, if you run into a shitty doctor like that one for your wrestler, and I mean, that would cause a lot of people not to go back to doctors and trust them. And that's a problem. There are good doctors out there. So I want to educate them on what to look for, the questions to ask. Don't just go off of the doctor saying you're good. What are my numbers? What's the ratios? I'm a 5. I'm a 5 out of 100, or I'm a 5 out of 6.
Yep.
Like, let me know. Give me the full spectrum. Just don't tell me I'm good.
Yep.
No one would take that for like your bank account. How's your bank account? It's good. Okay, so that means I have $1 in there, or I have 10,000. I mean, because if I have $1 in there, someone might see that as good because there's money in there. Not a lot of money, but it's money. So you got money in your bank account, so you're not overdrawn. So it's one of those things like, don't just give me basic information. Give me in-depth numbers. Give me something I can look at and I can compare. Hey, today I'm at 700. 6 weeks from now, 6 months from now, I'm at 300. I need to know those numbers because if I have a drop off all of a sudden, I need to find out why and what can be done. You know, you're good. What's good?
I think, you know, it's so funny, dude. We look at nutrition and we look at lifestyle and we look at the conversation around health right now. And I think so many of us are immediately drawn towards the aesthetics or the performance side of things, both of which are very important and very marketable, but neither of which are going to be achieved maximally if you haven't done the internal work. And, you know, I know I actually subscribe to your protocols in this where to fix the inside first and maximize that first before we ever chase the other targets. Because I think a lot of coaches have this completely backwards. And this is why I'm going to highly encourage every coach to go learn from Zach because he understands this at a very high level, far more than I do. Go learn from him because when you can fix these things with your clients, you can achieve results with your clients that nobody else can, right? They probably tried the diet for aesthetics or performance and it didn't work because they weren't playing with a full hormone profile. And you and I both know trying to lose fat with a testosterone level of 150 is like, it's not going to work, dude. Like,
it's not going to go.
Nothing good going to happen.
No, I completely agree.
It's not going to happen.
No, you want to optimize as much of the internal stuff as possible. How you digest food, how your body responds to it, controlling your cortisol levels. There's a lot of things out there that you can do that are very easy that will change things up. But yeah, if you're, I don't hate the word diet, but let's say nutritional program is on point. But again, your hormones are fucked up. You know, your macros could be perfect. Your testosterone is 105. It's not going to pan out like it's supposed to.
Yep.
And the coach is going to get probably pissed at you because they're going to be like, well, What are you doing? Are you cheating? Are you eating extra things that you're not supposed to be eating? Because that's the first thing you're going to think.
Yeah.
It's just like with the girlfriend situation. You don't, all of a sudden, you're just not sexually active as much as you used to be. They're going to think you're cheating on them. You don't want to be with them. So again, you're working with a coach. You're prepping for something. You're doing your nutrition program, but your hormones are fucked up. It's going to be a shit show.
Yep.
And someone's going to start cutting your macros down and cutting your macros down and cutting your macros down until they're so fucking low. It's going to cause more issues. It's going to, if your testosterone wasn't low then, it's going to be low now. Natural male bodybuilders are a perfect example.
Yes.
When they're prepping for a show, their testosterone levels drop down dramatically. And there's a good area right there when you talk about stigma, that they don't want to go get TRT because then they're not going to be natural.
Yep. And
it's like, okay, how long are you going to do this? And how much damage do you think your body's going to be able to handle? Again, in this country, with it being illegal and there's so much stigma to that, if you're taking steroids, you're cheating. No, if I'm taking an extraordinary amount of steroids, then I could possibly be cheating to a certain degree. But if I'm just taking TRT through a doctor and I'm keeping myself within those levels, and I'm not really going above 1,000, I'm just optimizing my body to work correctly so I can feel good, so I can perform, so I'm just in an optimal area. I mean, the mental aspect alone is just, you just wake up and you feel good. I remember going through my first divorce and I was completely fine the whole time because my testosterone levels were where they needed to be at.
Yep.
They were optimized. It was stressful, but it never got to me. It never brought me down. Where, motherfuckers get suicidal and shit like that, I walked away from everything. I paid money to get out my first marriage, and she was making more than me. It was just one of those things where I was like, you know what? I just need to be happy. One of my clients told me, he's like, it's just money and stuff. Don't put a price on your happiness. And I just went with that.
And I think a lot of people got to stop. I think they got to stop like pandering to a stigma instead of their happiness, right? The price that they're paying for happiness right now is living inside of some societal stigma that is not backed up by any kind of science or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate, man.
It's that Lifetime movie with Ben Affleck.
I'm sure there's hundreds of those. I can't say I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember the name of it, but he was like a high school kid, and he had a Roid Rage fit. It's just, there's a scene where he's just like having this big grown up ass fit and shit.
I don't doubt it.
They put bullshit out there like that, and they create that stigma. The media puts out bullshit that, what was the wrestler? He killed his wife and kid. Yes. And it's steroids.
Yep.
But it's not the pile of alcohol. It's not all the other shit. It's not the fucking brain damage he have from fucking getting hit in the head so many times. It's steroids. Find something simple and easy. And
like you said, and I'm a very big believer in this because I've been around the physique industry for quite some time. Those that choose to cross from TRT into actual steroid use, I believe it's an amplifier. If you're already a hothead, if you're already somebody that has rage, and you amplify that, then yes, you are likely going to be a bigger dickhead and have more rage. But guess what else does that? Alcohol. If you're naturally a fucking rageful, let me tell you, like, I've lived with this, right? Like, I've lived in a household where this was the case. Somebody had anger issues, and when alcohol came out, the anger issues became more pronounced. She was not on steroids, I promise you. Like, there was no hormone manipulation here, right? And this is not in any way an indictment on that person. In fact, I have nothing but great things to say. So that is just factual, man. Like, it's very difficult to experience. So,
being a recovered alcoholic for 5 years, I have been on the other side of the situation you're talking about. The alcohol will completely bring out the asshole in you way more than anything else that people think. I've worked security before for clubs, and Dealing with people that have been drinking is way worse than dealing with someone that's on steroids. Because generally people that are on steroids feel good. Yep. Their hormone levels are balanced out. They're generally, if they're working with a doctor and their shit is level, they feel very good. They're happy because they're level. They're not up and down, up and down. They're level. Everything's good. Like I said, I went through my first divorce. I was completely fine. Nothing failed.
There's so many men that are going to hear this that wish they could say that. And like, honestly, I mean, that's the case. Like when you think about this, like we look back on this video 10 years from today, there's going to be millions of men that have been through a divorce. Only a small fraction of which can say they were level-headed. Now, I assume there was some levels of sadness and things like that that are very normal. But in terms of your ability to cope, and dude, to take that a step further, I would argue the only people that are successfully navigating the rigors of COVID right now are those people that have a semi-normal or very normal hormone profile. If you entered into COVID obese, we know you were at risk. But why isn't anybody talking about entering into COVID with a compromised hormonal profile? Why is that not being a fucking discussion? And it's because the media understands if we talk about hormones, that people associate that with drug use, and everyone's like, oh, they're promoting steroids. No. Nobody's promoting anabolic steroids. Nobody is promoting excessive use and abuse. What we are promoting is stepping into the rigors of life. And we're in a very fucking difficult time right now, right? We are talking about stepping into very difficult times with an optimal level of all hormones, with an optimal lifestyle, with a fucking chance to win, just to survive. That's all we're asking to provide.
Yeah, it would be a lot better. I've had to deal with a lot of people that it destroyed them. And they didn't even get COVID. It just physically destroyed them. Depression, eating like shit. They couldn't go out. They might have lost friends or family members. But yeah, I'm sure their hormone profiles are fucked. And no one's addressing it, like you said. I did create a program that I'm running, the Pandemic Redemption, that deals with the training and nutrition. And along with that nutrition, we always go through blood work. Anyone that I deal with the nutrition, general population, competitors, doesn't matter. I need blood work every time. Because
I think more coaches need to be able to do that. Honestly, I'm becoming a bigger and bigger believer that phase one should be about optimization. Because, like, just to touch on what we said earlier, results are impossible if you're not starting with a level playing field.
I totally agree. And if you're not getting that information, you don't know what you're dealing with. And yeah, the COVID thing is a perfect example. People have lost jobs, lost family members, lost businesses. There's people out here that one of my clients, 3 different business owners that he knew in the Dallas area committed suicide over this shit because they were losing their businesses. They just couldn't handle it. I'm sure if you ran their fucking blood work, I'm sure you'd find some shit fucked up in their hormones.
100%. I would bet a significant amount of money.
I mean, being all through all the shit I've been through in my life, suicide was never a fucking option.
Right.
Being 18 years old in prison was never an option. Getting out, not being able to get a job at a fucking Starbucks so I can get health insurance was fucking depressing, but it wasn't an option to kill myself or go back to what I used to be doing.
It's crazy.
So it's just one of those things, like, you have to find a way. There's people out here that will help you. And with this program, I just want to help as many guys as possible because a lot of guys just don't take care of themselves. And I see it over and over and over again. They don't want to go to the doctor. They put shit off. And generally they're going to get hit with something that could have been easily avoidable or easily treated.
Yep.
The low testosterone is easily treated, but they're going for fucking years like that. I had a client, he knew he had low testosterone, but it was the stigma. He's scared to go and get treated for it. He knew it because when I asked him about it, he straight up told me, he's like, yeah, I have low T. The doctor diagnosed me 6 years ago. I said, look, you have to get on treatment. You have to be treated. And I was fortunate enough, I was able to convince him to go to a doctor, and it fucking changed his life. He was always kind of moody and depressed and shit like that. He didn't understand the full concept of it. He just thought it was steroids, you know? And it's like, no, it's not.
That's the picture that's been painted for us, man.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, and the media's largely to blame for that because they're giving out misinformation.
Yep.
You know, there's too many people out here that are getting treated for this problem, and they're not bodybuilders, they're not powerlifters, they're not strong. They're regular business people. They're regular general population. They're not.
I work with some A-listers in Hollywood. I tell you, it is widely accepted that everybody in Hollywood is on some form of HRT, and it's a lot of HGH use, small amounts of testosterone use, but it is they understand optimization at the highest level. Like that category of people that has access to everything and everyone. They're not trying. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know many. I mean, John Cena's pretty jacked, but like, I don't know many of the other guys that The Rock. I don't know if they're A-list actors or celebrities that appear to be roided out meatheads. They don't look it. And yet, I can definitively tell you. I mean, I can't talk about who or anything like that. I can definitively tell you there is a lot of people that are on hormone replacement purely for optimized benefits. And if you don't know where you sit, if you're not taking the steps to fix your lifestyle, if you're not trying to optimize and you say you have goals, you're just a fucking liar. Like that's the reality most people don't want to face, is they actually want fat loss and training to be solely about the food they eat and the training they do. And they don't want to have to go through this optimization phase because, sure, it's mildly uncomfortable. But guys, if you're listening to this at any level, go through this optimization phase. Fuck, it's actually going to take you through it for free. Like 4 weeks, go get optimized, get your shit together. Like go through this foundation, and I promise you, you're all going to be in a better place. So, dude, as we wrap this up, and obviously we're going to give them the link and they can get in your group. Where else can people find you?
www.strengthandphysique.com. They can find me on Instagram, Strength and Physique.
Spell physique, because they're going to spell it normally, and that's not right. Physique
is spelled F-E-Z-E-K.
Got it. Guys, strength, S-T-R-E-N-G-T-H, and F-E-Z-E-K.com. Tommy just threw, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube or on our Facebook group, Tommy just threw up his handle for Instagram. Go hit him there. Putting out all sorts of good information. I've been able to spend a lot of time with him to watch him evolve as a coach, but also to watch his knowledge help a lot of fucking people. And this is probably the coolest thing anyone's ever done on this podcast. So, bro, I can't say enough about the work you're doing, man. I know through and through that there is just 100% truth in everything you're putting out because you want to fucking help people, and there's no better cause. Bro, I appreciate your time this morning, man. Anything else you want to leave the podcast world with?
I want to thank everyone that has helped me through my entire career. I've been very fortunate for them. Anyone has any questions, please reach out. If you don't reach out to me, reach out to another coach that does more than just macros and training. Reach out to somebody that does functional nutrition and is going to help you. There's avenues out there for you to get help. And there's people that will help you for free, or they can point you in the right direction. But don't just stay in the same place. If you're depressed, you don't feel good, if you're not happy how you look, there's more than just training and nutrition to change that. I have a lot of small business owners, male and female, that are on TRT or some form of hormone replacement. They're not big, jacked people. I have housewives that are on it. It's improved their life dramatically. They feel better. They perform better. They're just fucking happier. Get some help. I just want to give back. People have been giving to me all my life, and every chance I can, I want to give back. So I want to do this 4-week program for free. I've been very fortunate this year with everything that's gone down. So I just want to give back as it's been given to me.
Dude, incredible, man. Again, I got nothing else to say other than that's absolutely incredible. And I mean, dude, it's people like you the world needs a lot more of, man. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy. I appreciate your knowledge. And all the people that are going to jump into this program with you are going to appreciate everything you're bringing their way, man. So once again, guys, click that link below. Get yourself in there. Zach, have an amazing Friday, brother. We'll be seeing you soon.
Yes, sir.
Later, bud.
Bye.